Within this community, everyone participates in some level of conversation, just being the fact that we're hardcore enthusiasts in this hobby that we love in gaming. And within the conversations that we all have, you're going to run across all types of people from different perspectives or how they view gaming based on the information they get. You'll get professional journalists, professional influencers, and just very casuals and gamers who've just been gaming a long time. People like myself who are interested in the hobby and been paying attention to it for a long time and try to pass on the information and the years of knowledge. And then just some people who are, for the first time, getting involved in the conversation. You got the console warriors, and then you got the hardcore enthusiasts, everything in between. But I think the one nuisance that is plagued across all levels is the lack of critical thinking. I don't know if it's because of the type of education or lack of education, or if people are purposely doing it. But there is a seriously lack of critical thinking skills within the gaming community, and it could be pointed towards maybe they're trying to create content and the actual divisive opinion attracts more views or gets more clout on their Twitter. The exact answer is an unknown. This video is about one of two topics, but I will present the other topic in another video. I'm going to talk about specifically the issue with false equivalency. So as the conversation between the Activision Blizzard clearly approaches, you have a lot of gamers that are really into defending or arguing against, for the acquisition. Now, get this. There is no situation where what Microsoft doing is morally wrong or something like that. In fact, there is no right or wrong. Sure, you can argue from the perspective of business, whether it's a monopoly or it could, prevent competition, all this stuff. The reality is the actual knowledge behind that is not really resident within the gaming community. It's resident within the industry experts, the people that actually go to college and done this for years and years and years. They crunch the numbers. They know what's going to be good or bad for the industry, so they get to decide. So you got the FTC, the CMA, and all these other organizations throughout the world. Everybody else isn't really an expert within the gaming community. The reality is most people are looking at this from their own perspective of what they want, rather than the actual legal ramifications and the actual years of study and actual expertise and knowledge of trade regulations. But people still try to advocate for one thing or another. But if you're going to advocate for something, why not use critical thinking? Instead, some form of false equivalency is being used. For example, recent news and information reveals that Neo most likely will not come to Xbox because apparently Sony paid for it. Now, of course, this is being used as a false equivalence to, well, if Sony was able to pay for Neo, then why can't Microsoft buy Activision and gain COD exclusivity? Well, the two is not the same. You see, COD is already on PlayStation, has an established fan base on PlayStation, which at this point in time is the biggest on PlayStation. This is not the same with Neo. You see, Neo actually started out as a project for the PS3. So Xbox at no point was ever involved for this game. Now, after 12 years, the game got many facelifts, creative directions, and ultimately became what it is now. But you got to imagine or understand that this game was originally a PS3 game. And this is during the era of the Xbox 360, when Xbox 360 was very competitive. Lots of people were buying it, and it split the market base between the two platforms. But yet somehow people want to look at this compared to a game that's more popular on PlayStation and is already on PlayStation. If you really want to know an equivalent to Neo and Neo 2, then look no further than Gears of War. See, Gears of War is an actual equivalent to the situation in Neo. Now, some of you may not know, but Gears of War was not an Xbox first party title. Granted, it was published by them, but the game was actually created by Cliff Bleszinski while he was working at Epic Games. Epic Games is a third-party publisher. But with Microsoft realizing they needed a big title to help sell Xbox 360s, and Halo 3 was 2 years away, they needed something within the first year of Xbox 360 lifetime. So Microsoft approached the publisher with Epic Games. Say, hey, we will fund the game. we'll provide you the money, the marketing rights, make it exclusive to Xp360 platform. Epic took the deal. You know, they had good history with Microsoft. They considered themselves a PC publisher first, and Microsoft was all about making PC and consoles, you know, as close as possible. So they took the deal, and hence Gears of War remained exclusive. What's funny is many Xbox gamers, 360 is their first console. Now, of course, every person in the comment section is going to be like, oh no, my first console was the OG Xbox. Well, considering the OG Xbox sold maybe at most 25 million, and the Xbox 360 sold over 80 million, yeah, there's not so many people, well, that bought the OG Xbox. Oh, and I'm one of them. So that's even less. The move for Microsoft to get Gears of War is the move that is common among the industry. It was a move done even before Sony PlayStation even existed. And that is what helped propel 360's success. That's what helped them gain notoriety. That's what helped them gain market share. At the time, this wasn't considered a bad move. This was considered things that first-party publishers do. You create your own first-party, and you try to get content, you know, for your console to push an identity. Gears of War was a new IP. It had nothing to do with PlayStation. If Microsoft didn't make this deal, Gears of War could have been a multiplayer, and PlayStation gamers would be playing it right now. But that's not what happened. Microsoft made a deal. Gears of War was synonymous with Xbox brand, and then eventually Microsoft just bought the IP rights altogether. The moral of the story is pretty much critical thinking. If you guys are for the Activision or the acquisition of Activision or against, that's fine. At the end of the day, Microsoft is not really doing anything wrong. At least not in the eyes of the CMAs, the FTCs, or whatever. As for the gamers, if you don't like it, oh well. If you do like it, still oh well. But at least try to maintain some form of critical thinking. You know, most of us, with at least the adults are in the conversation, I would like to imagine that at a minimum, you got a high school diploma. I would like to think at a minimum, you have some form of education. There is nothing wrong with using that education. There is nothing wrong with presenting yourself with the people in the community that you talk to, that you have some level of common sense. You can use common sense. That doesn't mean you're against or for the acquisition. It just means you have common sense. And people will be more apt to have a conversation with you. But hey, I digress. What do I know? Anyway, this is your only friend these YouTube streets, crtical. And please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And stay tuned for more content. I host a podcast every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 60 frames no lag. I hope to see you there. You have a good night.